So we're just going to do a brief prime factorization, greatest common factor, least common multiple, and last multiplication review for the test tomorrow. So first off, prime factorization. And these are the problems that we did in class, but it's just a review. So here is for 72, we're going to go ahead and well, it's divisible by 2. Prime, that's prime. It's also divisible by 36. Remember, 36 times 2 equals 72. So now we go down to the next level. Well, this is also divisible by 2 and 18. Remember, 2 is prime. This is divisible by 9 and 2. 2 is prime. And this finally is divisible by 3 and 3, both of which are prime. So if we were asked to rewrite this, as it says, with exponents, it would be 2 to the 1, 2, 3 power, so 2 to the third power, times 3 to the 1, 2 second power. So now let's move on to the next one here. This one here is 300. Well, I see it quickly that's 3 and 100. Remember, I expect you guys to know the divisibility test for 2's, 3's, and 5's. Let's review those quickly. 2's are if the number's even, you can divide by 2. 3's are you add up the digits. So, for example, the number 1, 2, 3 is divisible by 3 because 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 3 more is 6. And that means 3 divides into 6, so therefore it's divisible by 6. And the last one, 5, is if it ends in a 5 or 0, then it is divisible by 5. But getting back to this problem here, 300, the prime factorization, well, 3 is prime. Then we've got 100, which is 5 times 20. And then we've got 5, because 20 is divisible by 5 again. And 4. And 4 is not prime, so it's 2 and 2. So the correct prime factorization for this one is going to be 2 to the 1, 2, 2 to the 1, 2, that's second power, times 5, wait, actually, let me fix that, because I need to do this in order, times 3, because there's only one 3, times 5, the second power. So let's clear some of this off, so I can have a little bit of space here, because it's a little bit hard to read. So we've gotten those written down still, though. So now we've got to do 125. 125, not divisible by 2, not divisible by 3. It is divisible by 5, though. So there we go. And 25 is divisible by 5 also. So that's the prime factorization of 125. For 36, it's going to be 2 prime and 18. And it's going to be, if you want to do 3 and 6, that's fine. If you want to do 2 and 9, that would have been fine too. You would come up with the same answer, 2 and 3. So it's going to be 2 to the second power times 3 to the second power. So that's how that works. Now let's move on here. Now we're going to be dealing with greatest common factor. Greatest common factor is when you use the upside down birthday cake thing that we've talked about. So here is the example. Well, what number goes into both 20 and 30? You might come off with 10 right off the bat, but if not, let's do this in order. So 2 goes into both. When that happens, you're left with 15 and then 10. Now we know something goes into 15 and 10, that's 5. Then we're left with 3 and 2. And no number, the greatest common factor of 3 and 2 is 1. So we can't go any further. Nothing divides into both of them except for 1. So then the greatest common factor is these two numbers multiplied together, which is going to be, in this case, 10. That means 10 divides evenly into both 30 and 20, which it does. So now let's do this with this one here. 60 and 85. Is it divisible by 2? No. Is it divisible? Are both divisible by 2? No. Are both, because 60 is, but 85 is not. Are both divisible by 3? No. 60 is, and 85 is not. So we do 5s. So it's 12 and 17. And the greatest common factor between 12 and 17 is going to be 1. So we're done. The greatest common factor is just 5 for this one here. as I said before, it's 10 for that one here. So now for these ones here, this is where it gets a little bit tricky here. 32 and 81. 32 divisible by 2. 81, no. 81 divisible by 3. 32, no. 32 and 81, neither of them are divisible by 5. So actually the greatest common factor is just going to be 1. This can be a little bit tricky if you don't think about this through. So 52 and 100, well, it's going to be 2 and 2 both, because both are even, so it's going to be 26 and 50. Then 26 and 50 are both divisible by 2 again because they're even, 13 and 25. And so the greatest common factor is going to be 4 for these. So, because again, once again, we multiply these two numbers together. So now we're going to do least common multiple, which is similar format to greatest common factor, except for you're looking for the number that both, in this case here, 4 and 6 divide into, not are divided by. So you're looking for the smallest number that both these numbers divide into. So what we do is same sort of format. 2 goes into both. 2 and 3 is what you're left with. But in this case, what you do is you multiply this times this times this. 2 times 2 times 3. And that's going to give you an answer of 12. And does 4 divide into 12? Yes, it does. Does 6 divide into 12? Yes, it does. So then you know you're on the right track. So now let's try with this one here. 36 and 24. Well, we know 2 goes into both again. 18 and 12. Okay, we know that 2 goes into both these again. So 9 and 6. And we know 3 goes into both those. 3 and 2. So we have to multiply all these together.
Excuse me for the interruption. Leora Eisenberg, please call the...
Sorry for that interruption. Now we're back. So this is going to be 2 times 2 times 3 times 3 times 2, which is going to give us, let's see here, that's 12. I think that's 72. And does 36 go into 72? Yes, it's twice. 36 is 72. And does 24 go into 32? Yes, 3 times it is 72. Back here, down here, for 15 and 8, does any number go into both? 2's, no, because it doesn't go into 15. It does go into 8. 3's, no, it goes into 15, doesn't go into 8. 5's, no, neither. So actually, the greatest common factor in this one here is just going to be 15 times 8, which in this case here is going to be 120. So when you have a situation where they have no common factors, you don't have to get those. When they have common factors, you have to kind of cancel one out, so you're not multiplying by the same thing twice. So that's the reason why we do it this way. So now we've got 100 and 120. Well, you might know right off the bat that 10 is one of them, and then 10 and 12. And you know that you have to divide by 2 as well. So you end up with 5 and 6. So the greatest common factor, it would be, in this case here, be 20. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for the least common multiple, though. So it's going to be this times this times this. So it's going to be 20 times 5, which is 20 times 5 is going to be 100, and then 100 times 6 is going to be 600. Okay. The last multiplication thing, I think most of the kids have a pretty good handle on, and they could use lattice or non-lattice, so I'm not going to go over that. But this was just hopefully a good review for the kids for the test that they have tomorrow. And this is just going to be essentially the same format. The only thing is, just again, in terms of lattice, I will set up one problem just as a reminder. Okay, here's the example, 20 times 36, and then we just draw the lines in here. So you set up boxes, and then you draw the lines. 0 times 6 is going to be 0 and 0 go here. 0 times 3 is going to be 0 and 0 here. 3 times 2 is going to be 6, so it's 0, 6. 2 times 6 is 12, so it's going to be like that. Add them all up. What you get is, in the bottom here, you get 0 for that. For this column here, you go down, and then count them out that way. So this is going to be 2, this is going to be 7. So the correct answer for this is going to be, and then this is 0. So the correct answer is going to be 720. That's how Lattice works if you've forgotten.